Bill Deaver says that we find 38 out of 40 cities with no burn layer. So he says, well, Joshua conquest is mythological. So how you respond on that?
Well, Bill Deaver is a great archaeologist, and I've had the privilege of knowing him a little bit and talking to him from time to time. And when he says there are 38 without burned layers, I believe that. I think there are. And I think that is entirely consistent with the biblical account. Because if you go to Joshua chapter 11, right? And there we have the story of the Israelites fighting against the northern coalition, and they are defeating Hatzor and the king and leader of Hatzor. And it says they burned Hatzor to the ground. It was totally destroyed. He burned Hatzor. And then in chapter 11, verse 11, and then in verse 13, it says, yet Israel did not burn any of the cities on their mounds except Hatzor, which Joshua burned. So there should not be burn layers in any of these other places. If there are, then those are not Israelite, according to the book of Joshua. Now, early on, archaeologists back in the early 20th century, this was a big deal, and they were looking for burn layers. But if you read the book of Joshua carefully, and you give it some worth in terms of a historical value, then you really would not be looking for that. And indeed, they didn't find them. And so by the absence of evidence, well, you have to be very cautious. But nevertheless, this is entirely consistent with what Professor Deaver describes. And we do have a 13th century burn layer at Hatzor. And nobody doubts that. It's there, it's clear. In fact, even the images that are found there are broken, which is unusual because the like clay images and other things. Because usually, if another city or country comes in and takes over a foreign city like Hatzor, they would take those images. Later on, the Assyrians, or especially the Babylonians, took the images of the gods of all the different countries they conquered and put them in the temple of their chief god, so to show the superiority of their chief god, Marduk, over the other gods and goddesses. But here, these statues or these images are mutilated. Well, if you believe there was any value to them, that would be bad luck, to say the least, to mutilate these images. But if you believe they had no value, and your God was sovereign and truly the only true God, and you should have no other gods beside that, something like the Ten Commandments in the Book of Exodus, then that's exactly what you might do with such images. So anyway, that's a go off the point, but yeah. So I agree with both Professor Deaver here and with the Bible.
Unbelievable.